Hi, everybody. This is Dan Stolbarger. Welcome to this week's KFIR Middle East Update. It's the week of December 12th. We look back on the events of the last week. And I'm sure you know by now we're in the middle of Hanukkah. And what better time to remember the power of light over darkness. The Hanukkah candles shine bright in Gaza still. Israel will win this war, and let's continue to pray for the Maccabees of our day, that the Lord would give Israel victory over this atrocious enemy. So let's take a look at the week of December 12th. Remember, grab the PDF PowerPoint. There's always more information and photos, etc., than what we have on the YouTube. So you can get that. You can just click the link on the YouTube page or go to our website, holygroundexplorations.com. News bites, ceasefire. We're going to hear it more and more and more. We're going to start feeling the pressure of Israel. You need to finish what you've started, but finish it soon. But interestingly enough, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken last Sunday stressed that Israel, not the United States, would ultimately decide when this war against terror will be over. Last night, President Biden declared himself to be a Zionist and said we need to be careful, but there is no let up on the gas pedal at this particular time. I dare say that I think it will start increasing, but Israel needs to finish what they've started. Hezbollah, that's always the threat of the north. If Israel doesn't deal with Hezbollah, no war or whatever, that simply means that the civilian population, Kiryat Shimona, up on that northern border, are going to have a difficult time returning. We just heard about a farmer, an apple orchard farmer, that was killed because of anti-tank rockets that were fired from Lebanon. And the truth is if we allow this to continue, if Israel allows this to continue, the IDF, farmers, etc., are just sitting ducks on the border. So despite what's taking place in Gaza, there's still going to be major work to do on the Lebanese border. Troubling news as far as the rise of anti-Semitism. According to a poll released on Thursday, 20% of Americans aged 18 to 29 agree with this statement. 20%. The Holocaust is a myth. And then we're told that 30% express anti-Semitic views. 20% denying the Holocaust, 30% anti-Semitic views. The ages 18 to 29. Major cause for concern. The UN, in Israel, that means United Nothings, but the UN has officially become a Hamas accomplice. Soldiers of the IDF have found irrefutable proof and exposed UNRWA and how it's exploited. It's been exploited by Hamas to conceal weapons, rockets. For what purpose? To murder Jews. That's what it's all about. And then finally, not that this catches any of us off guard with what took place on October 7th, but the hostages that have been released are beginning to share their stories that they were starved, tortured, sexually assaulted, and denied any sort of medical treatment. Like I said, no big surprise there. Our major articles this week: the U.S. vetoed the UN Security Council's resolution that is, demanding the immediate ceasefire of the Gaza Strip. 13 of the 15 council members called for the truce. The U.S. was the only one that abstained, which created the veto. U.S. in a sense was the only country that voted against, with Great Britain abstaining. So again, 13 of 15 voted for this. But again, the reality is that the United Nations anti-Israel. I'll just leave it at that. Abbas responded to the veto by the United States. Abbas says the United States is now responsible for all bloodshed of the Gazans that will die because this ceasefire was vetoed by them. Again, this is the person that some believe should be given control over the Gaza Strip once Hamas is defeated. Mark my words, we've got the threat of Hezbollah Israel's going to have to deal with. Israel's already fighting in the West Bank, Jenin. Don't be surprised if there's still a war with the Palestinian Authority. I think the dominoes are falling all over the place. Now, that was Abbas's response. Of course, Iran's going to respond as well. Iran warns the United Nations of an explosion in the Middle East because the U.S. vetoed the ceasefire resolution. Again, quotes, as long as, and this is the Hussein Amir Abdullahian of Hamas, who claims Hamas is not violating the ceasefire in any way. This is the Iranian diplomat. He says, as long as America supports the crimes of Israel, the Zionist regime, and the continuation of war, there is a real possibility of an uncontrollable explosion in the situation of the region. Once again, leave it to your imagination what he's referring to, but this is Iran's response to our veto. And as I mentioned with Hezbollah, it has to be dealt with. There is a military way to do it, but I'm sure that Israel at this point in time is wanting to keep Hezbollah arm's distance, buffer zone, control the situation. But once Hamas is defeated, all bets are off concerning all of that. There's just no way. Just like when we talk about Sderot and those Gaza border kibbutzes, how will people ever go back until Hamas is completely defeated? How will they have any kind of security? The same holds true with what's taken place on the northern border, all the way from the Med, Rosh Hanikra area, and then you might as well just go into Syria as well along the Golan. Those borders have to be controlled by Israel before anyone will be able to move back. And then, of course, we've been hearing about this more and more over the last few weeks, that Israel is preparing, possibly, to flood the tunnels, the terror tunnels in Gaza. With that coming to the forefront, Russia, Putin, has gone on record to say if you were to do that, it would be a war crime. This would simultaneously, obviously, force Hamas, the terrorists, out of the tunnel. It would destroy their hidden war materials and provisions. They would render the tunnels obsolete. However, the dangers of Israel's commitment to this plan is still a bit uncertain due to concerns about hostages that are no doubt held in the tunnels, and then the ramifications of the environment by doing this is a concern as well. But it's still a threat that's out there, and the fact that Russia has spoken against it makes me believe that it's more of a reality, and it does seem to be a fitting solution to the problem. But we'll leave it and pray for the leaders to make the right decisions regarding flooding the tunnels. And then on December 4th, Hamas has kind of moved part of their entity into Lebanon. On December 4th, the Iranian-backed Palestinian terror group Hamas has established a new terrorist group in Lebanon. In short, the Hezbollah has allowed this to take place. There's 400 Palestinians, Gazans, I guess you would say, that are infiltrating and setting up Hamas positions along the border. Again, the threats of what took place on October 7th continue. They will blatantly say, we're not done. We're planning to do more of the same. Interesting that the goal of Hamas would be to turn Lebanon into Hamas land and destabilizing everything. Just rogue groups with Hezbollah, Hamas, ISIS, you name it. Is that the fate of Lebanon? That's why I tell you it's going to have to be dealt with sooner rather than later. And then the schizophrenic policies of Biden. It's really tough to kind of keep up on this. On one hand, he's claiming to be a Zionist. We have the U.S. veto. Biden no doubt sees himself as passionately pro-Israel, but he's funding both sides of this war. He's allowing the mullahs of Iran to get away with murder. It's really hard to figure out. It's actually not only dangerous, it's disastrous. With what's taking place, the concept of Biden's Middle East, of a two-state solution, with inserting Abbas or the Palestinian Authority. This is just, to use a Hebrew word, it's balagan. It's just crazy to think about. And Israel's truly in a catch-22 because of their need of U.S. support. And it's definitely needed as far as armaments, just the weapons of war that are needed for them to continue. They don't have them. They're completely dependent upon the U.S. And so this means that Israel's limited and not free to act as it sees fit. And so neither during the war, like right now, or even after the war, they're completely reliant on the support of the U.S. And so, and then you look at our government and scratch your head and wonder, is all of this what's leading up to a situation that the Bible refers to in Ezekiel 38 and 39, where there is this invasion from the north and Israel is standing alone? I have a feeling we're moving in that direction. Israel is going to have to be more non-reliant on the United States, but that's going to cause them to create some sort of space between us. And I think that's going to take place, again, I'm using this phrase a lot, sooner rather than later. You all saw most likely the presidents of Harvard, Penn, and MIT. Embarrassing, just flat out embarrassing. The question, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your university's code of conduct or rules regarding bullying or harassment? In short, all of them said it depends upon the context and whether that speech turns into conduct, which means Jews are killed, right? And that's actually the killing. When there's actually killing of Jews, then yeah, we're going to say that it's against our policy. But up to that point in time, the calling for the death of Jews, no problem at those places. So again, absolutely embarrassing. But I will say, after watching it, Elise Schizophrenic, I don't know if I pronounced that right, the U.S. representative of New York's 21st Congressional District, new hero of mine. New hero of mine. And then I end with this because we're blessed here in Coeur d'Alene. We're hosting in a few nights Joshua Aaron and Aaron Schust. We're bringing a bit of Israel to northern Idaho, a night of worship, a night of prayer of Israel. And as we've gone through this season, not only just Hanukkah, but as we prepare for Christmas, the Advent, Christmas carols are playing, I know, in my home, and wherever you're going shopping or whatever there may be. But the one that's always resonated with me is O come, Emmanuel. And especially in light, as we let our Hanukkah candles on the fourth night, we remembered the Bebe's family, praying for the release of the captives. And so with that in mind, the prayer for the release of the captives, some of the words, the lyrics of this song have special meaning for me. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel from depths of hell, terror tunnels. From depths of hell thy people save and give them victory over the grave. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night and death's dark shadows put to flight. And then make safe the way that leads on high and close the path to misery. Jesus, we pray that the captives would be set free. We pray this in your mighty name. And so with that, God bless you. Shalom. Stand, pray for Israel in this day. Until next week, again, shalom.